From LPM,
Louisville Public Media.
Support comes from Vision Zero. On foot or behind the wheel, safety is a shared responsibility. And Vision Zero Louisville believes 0 roadway fatalities is the only acceptable amount. Their mission is to create safe roads by design, engineering solutions, and education. More information at visionzerolouisville.org.
Summer is coming right to your door. With Target Circle 360, get all the season go-tos delivered just when you want them. Snacks, towels, and even pillows. Get it all delivered the same day with Target Circle 360. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to On Track. I'm Aisha Jaffer. Each spring, across classrooms, libraries, and auditoriums, kids step up to the mic to take on some of the toughest words in the English language. It's Spelling Bee season, and this year marks a major milestone as the 100th anniversary of the Scripps National Spelling Bee. It's a competition that's become a cultural institution, testing not just vocabulary, but focus, memory, and nerves of steel. Louisville has a deep connection to spelling bee history, as the Courier Journal hosted the first National Bee in 1925, and the very first champion was from right here in Louisville. This year, that legacy continues as 8th grader Zachary Rara from Meyzeek Middle School is for the second time now headed to Washington, D.C. to compete for the national title in the Scripps Spelling Bee. We'll talk with Zachary a little later about what got him interested in this competition and what it takes to train for a bee, what he's learned along the way. But first, we're joined by someone who's lived and breathed the bee for decades. Corrie Loeffler is the executive director of the Scripps National Spelling Bee. A former competitor herself, she now leads the Spelling Bee's year-round educational efforts and helps shape the future of this program. Corrie, thanks for joining us on Track today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So what was your journey to the Spelling Bee? What got you mesmerized with the competition?
Well, when I was a kid, I'm from Central California originally, and my brother competed in the national competition when I was in 8th grade, and I was just 6 years old. Flew to Washington, D.C. for the first time, got to see all these kids who were smart and ambitious and motivated, and it really made me want to come back and do it myself. And so I loved words, I loved reading, but it was really kind of about the social aspect. And that's what you think of with a beehive and a swarm, right? That's part of the magic of what the spelling bee is. It's not just the words.
Yeah, community,
Yes.
It sounds like, is part of it.
Absolutely.
So you actually competed in the National Spelling Bee 3 times during the 1990s. So how did those experiences shape your path to becoming the executive director, and how do they influence your leadership today?
I loved competing in the national competition. It was, the highlight of my year. And then I volunteered in high school and college for the competition. But really, I think the biggest impact was that the regional partner in my area in Central California thought they were going to stop sending a kid from where I grew up to the national competition shortly after I competed. And I realized that would break my heart if there was no longer a kid who was able to do this from this little rural area in California. And so my mom and I worked on fundraising for years around that and making sure that opportunity stayed available. And that's really what I'm still doing, making sure that this opportunity is available to kids, because it can be so life-changing for a kid, no matter where you're from, to see yourself on a national stage and able to compete at the highest level of something. And it doesn't have to be spelling. It can be all kinds of different opportunities. But the fact that this opportunity has been here for 100 years, I think, speaks to the fact that it can be so powerful for kids. So that's really where I lead from, is thinking about that speller experience, not necessarily who's going to win, but what is it going to mean to every kid who participates.
That's incredible. And, this is a little side. We'll get back to the spelling bee, but I heard that you actually competed in a different competition in Jeopardy. Is that right?
I was in the Jeopardy college tournament, when I was a sophomore in college, which was very fun. My older brother was in the Jeopardy teen tournament, so I again followed in his footsteps. But it was a blast. I guess I have a slight competitive streak.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Well, as Scripps National Spelling Bee celebrates its 100th anniversary, what do you believe has been the most significant impact of the bee on students and education over the past century?
What we really hear from kids, from adults now who have gone through our program, is that it was a turning point in the way that they viewed themselves and in the ambitions that they had for their future. So whatever they went on to pursue at any level, they knew that they could do it because of the way the bee made them think about themselves. It gives kids words that they need to succeed, absolutely. And it provides an incredible entree into all types of fields through learning really rich vocabulary that can introduce you to science, to history, to different cultures. But I really think it's about providing that belief in yourself, and also not just the belief in yourself, it's the resilience that the spelling bee can teach. Being up on a stage with 200 other kids, knowing that only one kid is going home with the trophy and that the rest of you are going to go on to do great things too. It gives you a very quick and powerful and memorable lesson in being able to bounce back from disappointment and move on to other goals. So I really see the spelling bee, especially as because it's a competition for elementary and middle school students, as a springboard to the rest of your life and the way that you deal with challenges and with responding to disappointment.
So do you think that is what makes the spelling bee the most important, is learning those kind of life skills together?
I really do. The words, the language skills are so important. It's something that you use every single day, but you can learn those without the competition aspect. The competition aspect is what teaches you those life skills. So many different lessons. There's poise, there's grace under pressure, there's public speaking that comes with this too. It really is those transferable skills that I think makes it not just a test. If we were just looking for somebody who was great with words, we could give all the kids a spelling test and say, you're the very best one, you knew the most words. But it takes more than that to win a spelling bee. It takes a lot of other skills.
Yeah. I love what you said earlier, too, though, is as, students are, or, people going towards this competition or practicing for it, they're discovering new words and learning about them. Like you said, science, around the world, anything. I think that's an interesting part, is that discovery bit.
Oh, absolutely. Part of our mission statement is all around curiosity. And that's what makes studying for this competition fun. You're not just learning a sequence of letters and that's it. You're learning the meanings behind it, and that can open up all new worlds. When I was studying for the bee when I was a kid, it was really around different food words that I could learn the definition of, and I never would have eaten them in my tiny little town that had 3 restaurants in it. But I knew that someday I could and would get really excited about that. So it can be academic, it can be just life experience, it can open up all kinds of things to learn new vocabulary, new words.
Were you perhaps hungry when you were looking up those words?
I think I've been hungry my entire life.
I love that, but also hungry for knowledge, and I love that.
Absolutely.
So, in what ways has the competition evolved since its inception in 1925, particularly regarding inclusivity, technology integration, and educational outreach?
For sure. It's been really fun thinking about the 100th anniversary this year and going to some of our regional competitions and seeing kids really do the same things that they were doing for the most part back in 1925, right? It's a group of kids, they're standing on a stage, they're spelling a word. It's between them and the dictionary. So in a lot of ways, the competition has remained very constant. And I think that's part of its longevity, is that it has this simple format that will look a lot like the format that you probably experienced when you were a kid. We have evolved the competition in a lot of ways. These days, we have direct relationships with the schools that we work with, and we provide a lot more materials than just a study list, right? There's a whole program that's a year-round program that schools can implement. And it starts at really just the words that kids need to know how to spell at their grade level. It's not the super difficult esoteric words that you see in our finals at that level. So this having that relationship from the national organization to our 24,000 schools that participate across the country has definitely been a change. And that's all thanks to technology. We provide a lot of resources digitally to our schools, and we've implemented things like Zoom bees during the pandemic and an online testing platform that had to be developed to make sure that this program wasn't crushed by what was going on and could live to see its 100th year. The other way that we have transformed a bit is by adding vocabulary to our competition, and that's available at every level of the competition, but you'll see it on stage at our national competition as well. We really want to make sure that kids are learning the meaning behind the letters. That's what makes the language learning part of this so meaningful, to not excuse the pun there, I suppose, but it is that has been a really, really great addition to our program since 2012 that we are really proud of being able to put forward. And of course, we're always looking at the accessibility of our program, the inclusivity of our program, making sure that we have a welcome mat for any type of kid and anyone who wants to participate, and lowering those barriers to entry. And one of the ways we're doing that right now is through an initiative with the Scripps Howard Fund, which is a nonprofit that is, of course, related to the E.W. Scripps Company. But we have a new charitable fund that we're calling Believe, which we're spelling wrong on purpose. It's Beelive, or Lieve. Wow, I can't believe I just misspelled a already misspelled word, but I'm out of practice on the oral spelling front. But so what we're trying to do there is just provide ways to increase access to our program. And we're starting with a partnership with Teach for America, making sure that any Teach for America partner school in 2025 can enroll in our program absolutely free. And that's all through this brand new initiative. So just trying to make sure that this program is there for any kid who needs it.
So very, accessible and just, I love that in the 100th anniversary, thinking about those ways and continuing to think about ways to bring all kids into this experience. It's a very, it's a centennial of an experience that, should be accessed by all. Now, speaking of that, some might not be aware that there is global reach here. This year, 13 competitors are coming from outside of the U.S., places like Ghana, Kuwait, and the Bahamas. How has the Bee evolved into a more international competition over the years? And what kind of impact do you think that global reach has on the students who take part?
We've actually had global participation in the competition for over 50 years. Most people don't know that, but it started very small, just a couple countries, and we've grown from there. I really feel like with the spread of English globally, it makes sense to have kids from all over the world competing in this. Like I said, it's a great foundational and transferable skill to be able to compete like this. And it's also really motivating for kids who are in the position of learning English as a second or third or fourth language, especially. Some of those countries are English prevalent, but some are not. And so it provides an opportunity there in those countries, but also there's a cultural exchange that happens when kids come to compete with kids from America at our national competition. It's really enriching both for the kids from the U.S. and the kids from outside of the U.S. to be able to share their cultures and to have that easy common ground that they can immediately connect on. They're here for the same purpose, and they can grow friendships from there. So it's been a really, really impactful part of our program at the national level.
So overall, too, this year, the majority of this year's competitors are participating for the first time. What does that say about the next generation of spellers, and how does the Bee help them feel ready for such a big moment? I know you mentioned some tools that are provided to get them ready as well.
Yes, it is so exciting to have such a new class of spellers coming. Of course, we always have our veteran spellers who come back to compete, and they are so great at taking the newbies, we call them newbies, obviously, under their wings. We provide lots of training, webinars and things like that online for the kids in advance of their travel to what we call Bee Week. But also there at Bee Week, there are so many structured activities for them to meet each other, to immediately feel welcome and feel like they belong there. We have icebreakers. We have a big party this year. It's at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. We have special events for them. And we really just try to celebrate all of them as champions from the very first moment they get there. It's a week-long experience. The competition part itself is 3 days long. And I think it's such a testament to the experience that the competition starts on Tuesday. over half of our spellers will misspell or be eliminated from the competition on that Tuesday, but they'll all stick around through the end of the week because it's such a valuable learning experience and they're so much fun to be had. It's really once in a lifetime. And this year with the 100th anniversary, it's literally once in a lifetime because we'll never be able to celebrate this particular milestone again. So there's the participation and the preparation for participation in the competition, but it's really about so much more than that and making it this full experience and really a prize to celebrate these kids who are already champions at the regional level.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, it's 100 years, like you said, and you've mentioned so many cool activations for these kids as they arrive. I love that they're being treated like champions when they arrive because they are. And, that just makes me think, do you have anything different, lined up for this year? Any special events or initiatives that might be different for those who are competing this year?
We do. So we've been planning our 100th anniversary for over a year now, and we have some really special things for them to experience. For one thing, more than 40 of our past champions are coming back to experience the week with them. So that's going to be really special for these kids to be able to meet some of their B heroes or spell-lebrities, we like to call them. We like to make up words a lot. So we're having all of those champions do what we're calling B-Con. So think Comic-Con, but B-Con, and the kids will get all of their signatures on a commemorative poster. We have a really beautiful museum quality exhibit that will be available to all of our attendees all week that will walk people through the first 100 years of the Scripps National Spelling Bee. We're calling that More Than Words. And it is multimedia, it's interactive, it's got all kinds of memorabilia and archival photos and video and, all kinds of fun stuff for people to really understand the type of legacy that they are now a part of as they're experiencing that. And probably the most fun thing that we're doing this year is we have 8 of our past champions who will be competing against each other in what we are calling the Champion Showdown. And we've got all kinds of really fun twists and turns for them to tackle throughout that competition to see who comes out on top again. And they'll take home, instead of a trophy this time, a ridiculous championship belt. Very happy about that.
Yes.
And we're going to throw all kinds of silliness at them. And I'm just very grateful for these, full-grown adults for saying yes to doing this and potentially, not winning a title a second time. I think that takes a lot of bravery for them to get back up on the stage and do it again.
Well, you mentioned this museum style exhibit that's going to be there, and I'm just wondering, as you're putting it together, was there any artifacts that jumped out at you or stories that surprised you for putting that all together?
There have been so many great stories that have come out through this whole process of really digging into our archives, getting all of our 100 years of history into a place that we can access it. And so just, I'm flooded with a million stories right now. We found some great stories of the thing that's coming to mind is kids who spelled something wrong. We have a few of them over the years, spelled something wrong on stage, but the judges didn't catch it, and who came back, admitted what had happened. This is a long time ago, but admitted what had happened, and they were then eliminated from the competition, but got to do so with integrity and dignity. And again, it's those lessons of sportsmanship, of values that the bee can teach as well. So I think that's been a really cool thing to uncover. We also found this kind of decaying sculpture that we call Mr. B now, that was, I guess, a mascot for the competition at one point, and we had him restored. And so his poor broken fingers and glasses and everything are now going to be on full display and beautifully restored here in Cincinnati, and will be part of that exhibit too that nobody has seen before. So that's kind of a fun little piece of history.
Is it a bee? Is it like a bee?
Oh, okay. It's a bee. It's a bee wearing glasses. He's, kind of a cartoonish little statue a few feet high, and he's in my office right now, and he gives me a lot of joy.
Well, as we look beyond the centennial, what is your vision for the future of the Scripps National Spelling Bee in the next decade?
How about the next 100 years?
Yeah, we can look at it in the next 100 if you want to go there.
Well, it's really fun. In our More Than Words exhibit, we're actually asking the kids to tell us what they think the bee will look like in 100 years. So that's been on my mind, just looking forward to seeing what kind of creative responses we get. But for me, this is really about setting the competition and the entire program up for success in the future, in making sure that this continues to be valued in schools and in communities. Our regional partners who, like the Louisville Free Public Library in Louisville, who put on their regional competitions, who support their schools in making sure that this tradition stays alive, are so important to us. So it's making sure that they have everything they need and then continuing to expand access to the program. So whether that's through our Believe Fund or whether that's through examining our materials that go out to schools and make sure that they are the most useful and easiest to use for all of the teachers. We're wanting this to be a really fun, motivating activity and not something that drags down our teachers who already have a million things to do to make sure that this is really worthwhile. So this summer, we're doing some focus groups with teachers that I'm really excited about, examining everything that we put out to them and really honing in on what works and what's missing that we need to provide. So I just want this program to be around to impact kids the way that it impacted me, the way that it impacts thousands of kids per year, and continue to inspire people who tune in for that national broadcast also.
Corrie, it was such a delight to have you here on Track. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Corrie Loeffler is the executive director of the Scripps National Spelling Bee. When we come back, we'll talk with Zachary Rara, an 8th grader from Meyzeek Middle School, who's getting ready to compete in the Scripps National Spelling Bee in D.C. We'll talk to him about what sparked his interest, how he prepares, and what he's learned along the way. You're on Track with Louisville Public Media.
In honor of Military Appreciation Month, Verizon thought of a lot of different ways we could show our appreciation, like rolling out the red carpet, giving you your own personal marching band, or throwing a bumping shindig. At Verizon, we're doing all that in the form of special military offers. That's why, this month only, we're giving military and veteran families a $200 Verizon gift card and a phone on us, with a select trade-in and a new line on select unlimited plans. Think of it as our way of flying a squadron of jets overhead while launching fireworks. Now that's what we call a celebration, because we're proud to serve you. Visit your local Verizon store to learn more. $200 Verizon gift card requires smartphone purchase $799.99 or more with new line on eligible plan. Gift card sent within 8 weeks after receipt of claim. Phone offer requires $799.99 purchase with new smartphone line on unlimited ultimate or postpaid unlimited plus. Minimum plan $80 a month with autopay plus taxes and fees for 36 months. Less $800 trade-in or promo credit applied over 36 months. 0% APR. Trade-in must be from Apple, Google, or Samsung. Trade-in and additional terms apply.
Lowe's knows that no matter your paint or stain project, saving is at the top of your to-do list. Save now with buy one, get one half off select paints, stains, and primers from top brands like Valspar, HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, and Cabot via Visa gift card rebate. Find more Memorial Day deals now at Lowe's. We help, you save. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Offer valid 5/15 through 5/28.
Welcome back to On Track. The National Spelling Bee competition kicks off this week, and we headed to Meyzeek Middle School to talk to a second-time National Spelling Bee competitor, 8th grader Zachary Rara. You started in the 3rd grade.
Yeah, 3rd grade.
So what got you interested in spelling bees?
In kindergarten, I was just generally good at spelling, and it just made sense to me. And then in 3rd grade, it was kind of an accident how I got interested. Everybody had to participate in the classroom spelling bee, so I just did that. I qualified for the school spelling bee, and then I accidentally got 2nd place. I wasn't expecting anything from it.
So then when you got 2nd place, you got hooked?
Yeah, pretty much.
And so, okay, now that you're hooked, now that you've been doing this for a while, what do you do to prepare for these competitions? How do you prepare for them?
There's a lot of resources online, and a lot of it comes from prior knowledge and how words make sense, how they're spelled, since that's a lot of the stuff that comes with becoming initially good at spelling. It's just words make sense.
So phonetically, kind of? Yeah. So then when you're preparing, do you ever have like friends or family or anyone like helping you study or anything like that?
Sometimes my parents ask me lists and they just like help me find resources online. My dad's really helpful with that.
Oh, cool. Is he a spelling?
No.
But I heard your sister is.
Yeah, my sister is. She also kind of, this year, as an accident, she also got second place.
Oh my goodness. Well, so it runs in the family. And maybe she was inspired by you a little bit.
Yeah.
So what was the word that you won with in this year's regionals?
It was jeepney. It's a Filipino van, like public transportation. It's a word that I know a lot since I'm Filipino. Mm-hmm. I've ridden on one of them before. Actually, like a lot of them before. So it's pretty cool that I got that word.
So you saw that one and you were like, yes.
Yeah.
So can you share, I know you're going to this national competition. You've been there before. Can you share what it feels like, what the atmosphere is like? What is it like there?
It's really big, if you know what I mean. Like there's so many spellers, and then with the amount of spellers there, you're just one out of like over 200, and there's so many people that you can talk to, so many activities that you can do, and it's right there in the nation's capital, and it's really cool.
That's cool. Was that when you went the first time? Was it the first time you went to D.C.?
No, it wasn't the first time I went to D.C., but I went to D.C. in 5th grade. Last year was 7th grade, but it's just like so rejuvenating every time I go to DC since there's just so much to do there.
Yeah, it's beautiful and it's free to go to all those museums.
Yeah.
So when you're there at this competition, have you connected with other spellers there that have shared this passion for spelling?
Mm-hmm. So I try to like make friends with the other people from Kentucky since, you know, go Kentucky and just like there's a lot of other friends that I made there. Everybody's really nice since we all spell, and we just like have a lot of the same interests, and it's just really fun to talk to each other.
So what are you most looking forward to this time?
One, competing, and then two, walking around the National Mall again, since that's like my favorite part of going to DC.
It's very beautiful. Oh, that's so exciting. Well, okay. So I know about you that you love music, and I'm a music person, and you play the cello. Do these other interests help bring you balance when you are thinking about these spelling competitions?
They help balance it and help me focus on other things to not get overwhelmed, but they also help a lot with spelling. Since spelling, a lot of the words there's a lot of words that with your interests, you can, like, there's real knowledge that you have to like answer vocabulary questions or just know how a word is spelled because of your other real knowledge. So it helps balance and helps me with spelling too.
I love that. And this is just my own personal question. I'm a big indie music fan. I heard you are too. Yeah. Who are some of your favorites?
There's like trying to think, like Chloe Moriando.
Yeah.
And then that's the only one I can think of right now.
That's the number one then. I love that. Okay, so this is a really fun question, I hope. But what is one of the coolest words that you've come across in these spelling bees, and how did you get familiar with it?
Maybe just like a word, like just like an interesting, like there's, instead of like a like word in general, maybe like a language. One of the most interesting languages, in my opinion, is probably going to be German or German or any other Germanic language.
Do you have a favorite word?
Maybe like apprehensive, since that's what I feel right now.
Well, we are all cheering you on, and I'm so glad you took the time with us. Zachary, thanks for being here.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Zachary Rara is an 8th grader at Meyzeek Middle School and 2-time regional spelling bee champion. He's headed to Washington, D.C. for the second time to compete in Scripps National Spelling Bee. This year will be the 100th anniversary, and earlier we heard from Corrie Loeffler, the executive director of the Scripps National Spelling Bee. A former competitor herself, she now leads the Spelling Bee's year-round educational efforts and helps shape the future of this program. On Track is a production of Louisville Public Media. The On Track production team includes Michelle Tyreen Johnson, Alex Biscardi, and Laura Ellis. Our music is by Kojin Tashiro. If you're just tuning in and you want to hear the full show, you can find it now at LouisvilleOnTrack.org or in your favorite podcast app. And let's continue the conversation. Is there something you want to hear about? Something that matters to your Kentuckiana experience? Let us know by sending us a text or giving us a call at 502-814-TALK or send an email to ontrack@lpm.org. I'm Aisha Jaffer, and remember that COMMUNITY is the word, and you're right in the middle of it. Until next time, you're on track with Louisville Public Media.
Lowe's knows that no matter your paint or stain project, saving is at the top of your to-do list. Save now with buy one, get one half off select paints, stains, and primers from top brands like Valspar, HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, and Cabot via Visa gift card rebate. Find more Memorial Day deals now at Lowe's. We help, you save. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Offer valid 5/15 through 5/28.
In honor of Military Appreciation Month, Verizon thought of a lot of different ways we could show our appreciation, like rolling out the red carpet, giving you your own personal marching band, or throwing a bumping shindig. At Verizon, we're doing all that in the form of special military offers. That's why, this month only, we're giving military and veteran families a $200 Verizon gift card and a phone on us with a select trade-in and a new line on select unlimited plans. Think of it as our way of flying a squadron of jets overhead while launching fireworks. Now that's what we call a celebration, because we're proud to serve you. Visit your local Verizon store to learn more. $200 Verizon gift card requires smartphone purchase $799.99 or more with new line on eligible plan. Gift card sent within 8 weeks after receipt of claim. Phone offer requires $799.99 purchase with new smartphone line on Unlimited Ultimate or Postpaid Unlimited Plus. Minimum plan $80 a month with autopay plus taxes and fees for 36 months. Less $800 trade-in or promo credit applied over 36 months. 0% APR. Trade-in must be from Apple, Google, or Samsung. Trade-in and additional terms apply.